and welcome to Rise with Video, where I talk with women business leaders who are raising up their brand, their impact, and their visibility with video and social media. My name is Robyn Unwin, and today I'm talking with JUHLi SELBy, who is truly the social media maven here in our fair city of Victoria, and has worked with some of the top brands on creating and sustaining a strategic and engaging social media plan. Each of my guests will share 5 hot tips, learning lessons, or challenges they faced in their rise through video. So you get to take a look at what goes on behind the scenes. So welcome to this episode of Rise with Video. So welcome, JUHLi. It's
Hello.
lovely because JUHLi's a dear friend, and I've just been so looking forward to having this conversation. And JUHLi and I were laughing because I said, when you get two nerds talking about something that you're both passionate about, we've told each other we're going to watch that we don't wade into the weeds on this. But I'm so excited to hear what you have to share with our audience today, JUHLi. And I wanted to start with asking you a little bit about your why and why you're so passionate about the work that you do, because it just comes out in everything that you do.
Thank you. So happy to be with you today. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on your show. I am so excited about helping people connect online, build their online presence and connect online, because I am a connector, genuine connector. And I love to teach, I love to learn, and I love to teach others how to connect. Building relationships is how you will accomplish your professional goals or your business goals. And doing it online can be a challenge for people. I think some of the technical details of it get people, they get stuck, it holds them back. And so where they might be able to walk in a room and network with people in person, when it comes to online, it can be a challenge for them to translate that. So I think of myself as a guide or a coach and trainer, social media marketing trainer, to help them get comfortable with those tools so that they can get on with building relationships that will help support their business goals. And that makes my heart sing when I can help to get more positive voices online in the world. I especially love helping helpers and healers. So I tend to work with a lot of coaches, people in the health professions, artists. I love helping get these folks online because they generally get online and serve others, which is amazing.
Yes, it becomes almost synergistic, doesn't it? You help them and then they help others, and it's kind of that gift that keeps on giving. And it does show. JUHLi, as I mentioned in the intro, is really one of our city's, messengers, I think, of social media. And JUHLi, you started right when social media was just getting off the ground. So you've been in it for the long game. And so I'm really excited.
Spreading the love and joy of social media since 2010.
Oh, really? Really right from the very beginning, isn't it? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things so let's start with your 5 tips, because one of the things, I love the way that we're going here, because we kind of go from the granular and sort of some of the more smaller things like a tech tip and moving into some of the more global and wider reaching things. So JUHLi's first tech tip is to look directly into the camera. And this is an interesting one. Yes, right? Because it's so, especially for Zoom, it's so counterintuitive to be looking into the camera, because right now, as we've talked about, I'm using my peripheral vision.
It's unnatural. It's unnatural. I mean, when you meet with people in person, you're looking at them eye to eye. So if I look at your video on the screen now, I'm looking at here, and you can actually feel the difference that I'm not looking at the camera right now. That's so right. When I switch and I put my eyes right on the camera, I think people can actually feel that you're looking directly at them. So that's a very unnatural thing. Now I'm looking at you through my peripheral vision and looking directly into the camera. So that's a very odd thing to get used to doing. So whatever it takes, I've had clients put a little post-it right beside their camera, or put a little sticker right beside the camera with a happy face, to remind them to smile and to look directly into the camera, because I really believe it does make a difference, whether you're meeting with people on Zoom live or whether you're recording content to serve your audience.
Yeah, and it's a challenging one, especially if you're trying to remember text or copy or something as you're delivering it to camera. So I suggest playing with teleprompters, playing with different sort of scrolling apps, and figuring out how that will work best for you as you're presenting to camera. But that eye contact thing is crucial, isn't it? Because we can look really sketchy and not really mean it, but we're just checking our notes, or
Right. And
we're
not
trying
people
to,
feel like you're not present with them, even
yeah,
if it's
or we're
recorded.
trying to have
Yeah.
eye contact with the person on the screen, which, as you said, like that's what it looks like. It just looks strange. So, yeah, we're in service to our audience when we're actually kind of not in service to ourselves by, it's an
Takes some
unnatural.
practice for sure.
Yeah, it really does. So, one of the second tips, and Julie, this is funny because every time I wear a scarf now, I think of you. But Julie's second tip is to wear a scarf and change up your wardrobe using this, fashion accessory. So, talk about how that works for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally just wearing right now, it's a plain long sleeve t-shirt, and literally just throwing a little scarf on makes you look like $1,000,000. Really sort of up levels your outfit from the waist up and makes you look professional. So I think certainly if you're a gentleman, you could, I don't know if they want to wear a tie, that might be a bit formal, but certainly for ladies, adding a nice scarf, or perhaps even a pocket scarf maybe for gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a nice branding touch because it's that way of, if you're trying to incorporate colors into your interviews, but you don't want to wear the same thing every single time, having just a pop of something in a scarf or an accessory of some sort is a way to get some of those branding notes across.
Absolutely. And I am absolutely obsessed right now with Etsy. I actually have a bit of an Etsy habit. And so Etsy is a fun place that I'm finding. And I chose this scarf because it's got some of the branding colors from my new brand.
Oh,
And
let's see again. I love that. That's beautiful.
yes. And so you can
Excuse me.
find all kinds of beautiful scarves. This was from an artist on Etsy. And there's all kind of wonderful handmade. And then you get to support makers as well by purchasing from Etsy. So yeah, great place to find
Super
scarves.
beautiful. Yeah, and speaking of branding, this is your third tip, is talking about your backgrounds and how your backgrounds can add to branding notes and well. So using a background and keeping it simple with your backdrop and lighting.
I really struggled. I spent way too much time trying to figure out what I should put behind me. I very much like the look of the bookshelves with the books, but I'm quite close to the wall where I am. And the color that I had on my wall, paint-wise, didn't really match my branding. So I was debating with, should I paint my wall? I even ordered temporary or stick-on wallpaper samples. So I tried to stage
Tried
it. Should I put
everything.
up my logo? Should I put up a frame picture of my logo? So I tried several different ways to stage behind me, and I was just not happy with any of them, and I was driving myself crazy. And then I finally just decided to buy a simple cloth photography backdrop that matched my brand color. And as you can see behind me, the backdrop that I have has a bit of texture to it, and it's very simple, but it does the trick. And I've gotten so many compliments on it. And I think because I don't have anything behind me, it allows the focus to be on me as the speaker. So yeah, just
It
keep
really does. And
keep
the
it
thing that
simple.
I think is lovely about that is, one of the things that I say with my students is that you want more than anything simplicity for your setup. So if it's complex to set your lights up and your camera and your mic and your backdrop and all that, you're not going to do it. But if you have it plug and play and it's all ready to go and all you have to do is flick a few things on, it hacks the whole system of
Totally.
producing videos, doesn't it?
So I have hung the photography backdrop on my wall, but you can get a little frame that can be put up, and it can be put up anywhere. So you can put up a photography backdrop behind you wherever you are, and that could be good for folks who work remotely as well, because that could be something you could take with you along with your laptop.
Throw
If
it in your
you're
suitcase and you pop it up. And if you're at a hotel room, it doesn't look like you're in a different location. That's
Yeah,
brilliant,
give you
actually.
some consistency. Or I was thinking in the future, when I have other folks doing training for me, doing courses for me, then I can provide them with a backdrop that they could put up when they're doing teaching for me. The other tip I wanted to share about that I struggled with was around the lighting. So I was looking at all this different lighting. I was intending to spend a bunch of money on lighting, but I was confused about what I should get, what I shouldn't get. And then for a gift, my sister actually bought me this light here, which is just a simple ring light. I don't know if you can see this. It does have a holder for the phone, and it really makes a difference. I thought, well, I wasn't going to get a ring light because I thought that wouldn't cut it, but I just want to show you here. So I am facing a window, so I do have some natural light. So I think that definitely helps. But if I turn
Yeah.
off the ring light, you can see what a difference it makes just to have a smidge of light. It really makes it
It
very
gets that
professional.
fill light, doesn't it? That fill light underneath is what the
Yeah,
ring
so
light
I've got it sort
is
of on the
lovely for
side
that.
of me that's a bit shaded. So this was just a simple kit, and it was all of $65 from the source. So I think that
So
makes
good.
it very accessible for anyone. So whenever I go to teach or whenever I go to do a private lesson or an interview, then I can simply turn on my light. I've got my backdrop ready to go. I've got my webcam on my laptop and I'm ready to go. So like you said, keeping it simple as possible. So if someone had just shared those tips with me, I would have saved a lot of time and a lot of grief trying to figure out what to put to create a more professional looking environment or doing
The
video.
other thing I really love about that, Julie, is the consistency of it, because you really there's something about, I guess it depends on your brand and what if novelty is part of your brand, then you probably wouldn't want to look exactly the same every single time. But if consistency and reliability and that part is, more foundational to your brand, I think there's some solidity in having some similarities in your settings each time, at least some constancy or consistency about
You
that.
could even get different photography backdrops if you want, and they have all kinds of cool ones. Like there's they have brick walls, and they've got different versions of
I've used
things
a
you can
brick
get.
wall one. I have a brick wall one that I think looks amazing. It looks very, very real. And then I have another one that's um, more of a wood plank one, and it just looks so hokey. So I think you just have to trust that you're going to maybe get some good ones or not some good ones. These are some really
Right.
flimsy,
Right.
so they're not as solid as the one that I know that you have. I think you've got a higher quality one. One thing I will also mention, since we're on the topic, is about the idea of green screens, because sometimes I get people asking me about, those little green screens. Well, I've got a green screen behind me. Mine's a wall-sized one, but there's the little pop-up ones that can go behind you.
Yeah.
And I like those. When people are using those backgrounds, the Zoom backgrounds
Right.
that cut out the whatever is behind you and use the green screen effect.
Right.
I find that has kind of some mixed results. And the best results are when you do use a background that's close to your back, that's a solid color, and that you are very, very well lit. If that's not the case, then you'll see those gaping holes, like, you get little
What
hole
else I
marks in the
find
person's
with
body.
that is because of my hair, the green screen doesn't really work for me. I think if you
Yeah.
have a very still hairdo, then it can work. But if you have any kind of long hair or sort of puffy do, then I think it can look off and
Yeah.
cheesy, in my opinion. So yeah, so I think it all depends. Some people can get away with green screen and having it look professional. And in other cases, I think it's like super obvious it's green screen and it looks cheesy. So
Yeah. And it
matter
doesn't
of
look as
preference, I
high
suppose.
quality, actually. If it's got that kind of the holes in it, I would actually prefer to see a messy background that looks a little bit
It's
real
real.
than have
Yeah,
that floaty,
right.
holes in the person
Weird
look.
hair.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's move on to, this is some of the juicy stuff, because I know this is your sweet spot. You are a strategy girl. So let's talk about creating a content plan, because you've really watched the landscape of video change over the years, the 10 or 11 years that you've been in social media. And probably wasn't even really on your radar back in 2010 about the importance of video in social media. But now the worlds have completely collided, haven't they?
It's how people want to consume content. Yeah, absolutely. And also, you think about managing your time, and video can be such a beautiful way to scale relationship building. It can't be your only way of scaling relationship building. You do have to get out and interact with people. And if people are responding to your content or talking to you on social media, you want to respond to them. That's part of how we make them feel connected. But with that said, you don't have unlimited time to go and chit chat and be building relationships with people online 24/7. Like, you're going to have a limited amount of time that you can spend doing this. So creating video content that answers client frequently asked questions, as an example, can save you time and can scale your relationship building, because people can watch video and feel like they're getting closer to know, like, and trust you. Matter of fact, I taught a workshop and I had a lady share an example. She'd gone to lunch with a fellow woman in business. Now, mind you, she did know this lady, but during the course of lunch, the woman said, "Remember when we were talking about this and this and this?" And the gal said to her, I did a video about that. I don't recall having a conversation with you about that. Did you by any chance watch my video? And the woman went, like she had actually watched the video of her woman in business
I
friend.
felt that she had had a conversation with
She
her.
literally
That's
remembered it as
awesome.
if she'd had a conversation with her. So again, the two ladies knew one another, but that's the effect that video has, is to have people feel like they're having a conversation with you, and especially if you're looking into the camera and sharing with them, they're going to potentially feel a connection and get closer to know, like, and trust, which helps build our community and helps people get closer to doing business with us if they need what we offer.
So true, so true. And that's why I love your fourth tip is to create a content plan. And so, one of the things that I've seen with my clients with in video, and you probably see it with social media, is that people get all excited and so they just start doing, and without any kind of a sense of what is this for, who am I, who is, who is my audience? What is, where is it supposed to land? And what do I want them, to do with
If you
that?
don't have clarity on the ideal audience or audiences that you want to attract and serve, your content probably won't do very well, right? So you've probably heard the saying, you try to serve everyone and it will resonate with no one.
Yeah,
So I know that's a
exactly.
whole nother topic to determine who that ideal client is and who you want to work with. But if you can get some clarity, at least, you don't have to announce to the world who that ideal client is that you want to work with. But if you have some clarity, that will make a huge difference in the kind of content you create to serve them, because you'll have a better sense of who they are, what their challenges are, what they want to learn, what their frequently asked questions are. So in terms of how to create a content plan, I think that's one of the things that people really struggle with, is I don't want to just create more content in a sea of mediocre content. I don't want to just add to that sea of mediocre content that's on social media. I really want to, spend my time creating something that's going to be useful for my audience. So putting some thought into that in advance, doing a little audience research, creating a plan can not only help you get more motivated and excited to create content, but it will help you be more productive and efficient. Because when you sit down on your Monday afternoon, which you've time blocked for creating your videos, and certainly creating video content in batches can make a lot of sense. So you have your
Hugely.
days where you get dressed up, you've got your lighting ready to go, you can switch outfits a couple of times if you want to shoot some video. And certainly getting some video editing support is always nice too. You want to be able to perhaps delegate some of the tasks if you have budget to do that. But even if you're not creating video in batches, like if you're just doing it once a week or whenever it works for your schedule, if you're sitting down to say, okay, this week's video is about this, then you can dive into creating the content and get it done versus, I don't know what video should I, second guessing yourself and wasting time on that, right? So putting some thought and time into creating a content plan will really help you to be efficient as possible, and also to coordinate your other marketing efforts as well. So as a part of a content plan, you want to sort of map out your year in terms of, what holidays or events are important for my business or my
Right.
brand.
Riff
What
off
holidays,
that.
yeah, what holidays or events are important for my ideal audience that I want to attract and serve? If Women's History Month is really important for your business, or an opportunity for you to highlight some women you admire in your business, and if your audience would love that, that makes sense to incorporate that within your content plan. So that can give you ideas for content as well, or help, so you don't have to put a dumb generic stock photo with a Merry Christmas with your logo in the bottom, right? You want to
Right.
plan in advance. Perhaps you're going to do some video content to say, here are my top 3 favorite Christmas memories. And then you shoot that content in advance so that you have that ready to go. So it's scheduled to post, or that you share that on the holiday. So I think coordination as well, like when do you do your email newsletters? When is all your, what do you have any product launches or promotions? Are you coordinating with any partners? Are you doing any other joint projects, right? So you can start to coordinate all of your various marketing efforts with your content plan and map it out into a 12-month calendar. So for those of you saying, how the heck do I do this?
So how do
Actually,
you do that, Julie?
how do you put together a content plan? I
What a
have
good idea.
I have a whole 1 hour presentation that I've created for a colleague of mine, and we'll be glad to share the link with you in the show notes. There is a cost, it's $10 US to access this 1 hour presentation, but it's a great presentation that gives a whole system on how to create a content plan and introduces you to a tool that you can use for free called Trello, Trello, Trello.com. And so we've created with that content plan presentation a template that you can copy into your own free Trello account. And it shows you all the detail of how to put a content plan together and ideas for what should go in your content plan, how to brainstorm for your content plan. So
That's brilliant. And one of the things that I find about, and I cannot wait to use this Trello one because I actually have just started using Trello and I love the visual, just the way that it's all, and I know you, Julie, I can just imagine how beautiful this tool is if it came from you.
I love Trello.
Right?
So for those that don't know what Trello is, it's a to-do list tool, and it allows you to create project boards, and each board can have a list. So you can have as many lists as you want, and within the list, you can have cards. So think of it or imagine it like a bulletin board up on your wall with lists and Post-it notes. Because with the cards, you can add due dates, you can add labels to color code things, which I love my color codes in my due dates. And it is very visual. Like you said, when you're looking at it on desktop, you can see your plan laid out and you can add as many lists as you want and scroll side to side. And as well, there's an app for your phone. So when you have an idea, if you're like, ooh, that's a good idea for video, then you can grab your phone, you can add the idea to your plan right then and there so that you don't forget it, right? And then you might not know where that's going to fit into your plan yet, but you gather all those ideas so that you're not stuck for ideas. Or if you're reading a great book and you see a quote, or you're watching a movie and someone says something cool, you're like, ooh, that's a great idea for a quote that I could incorporate in some of my content.
That's what I was just going to say, Julie, is that having something like that, like a plan or a foundation, I think during the rest of the time, if it's up there, if I have it up visually as well, like printed up, I'll start fleshing it out and filling things in, because it's almost like you're just, you can put the wallpaper on the walls when the walls are there. So I love this idea for this tool. All right, well, let's talk about the last one then, because this is really fun. Speaking of tools, this is sort of more my jam. It's the creativity stuff, but I love what you're introducing the audience to, because as we just mentioned earlier, Instagram and video, it has come a long way in social media in the last couple of years. So let's talk about the very last tip is to take advantage of some of the free creative tools out there. So what do you got?
So some folks may be aware of a reasonably new format, not brand new any longer, but there's a format called Stories. And Stories is the vertical sharing format, and it was originally invented by Snapchat, later copied by Facebook and its whole family of apps, including Instagram and Messenger and WhatsApp. Now all the social channels have basically copied a version of this vertical 24-hour disappearing content format. And so Twitter's copied it, LinkedIn has it, Pinterest has it, you name it. Pretty much all the channels have it now. And so one of the cool things about Stories is that it's content that disappears in 24 hours for the most part. So you don't have to be perfect. You can be playful, you can experiment a little bit, you can have fun with it. And there are these filters within the tools that you can use to create content. And for those of us sort of 40 plus ladies where, get a little wrinkles on the face around the eyes, it allows us these little
bring on these tools.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're a 40 plus gal, you appreciate some good lighting. And also there are these cool filter tools. You may even have some tools built in within your phone camera. So smartphones have come a long way as well. So may I just show you a couple of things real quick?
Yeah, share your screen. That would be great.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you just to show you here. Okay, so here we are within the Facebook app. You can see here we're on the home tab on Facebook. In the top left-hand corner, it shows the house icon. And all along the top here, we have our 24-hour stories. So you can watch some of your friends' stories and see what they're up to, see if what you like, what you don't like about what they're doing. And if you want to access the camera to create your own stories, you simply click on Add to Story, this little plus sign in the top left here, and it opens up the stories function. You can see it's opening my gallery here as well. At the top, there are some functions to play with. So I just want to, don't want to go too deep into the details, but I just want to pique your interest with a couple of the functions in here.
Nice
So
one.
you can see there's a function called boomerang. I'm going to tap on that guy here. And I'm going to switch to my selfie camera. Okay. And down below this little circle right here is boomerang. So this is the camera. So generally with the circle within this camera, if you tap your finger, it takes a photo, or if you gently tap and hold your finger, it films a video. So I'm going to film a quick little video here.
That's awesome.
And you can see this will create a little boomerang. You can do
little mini
additional
GIF.
decoration here if you want to share this. But the other cool thing that I want to show you is you can create media in here, and notice there's a little save function. So I can literally click the save, and now I can download that media right to my phone, and then I can share it on LinkedIn, I can share it on Twitter, I can share it on Facebook, I can share it on Instagram. You can do whatever you want with that content. So that's the boomerang. That's fun. And so for
That's
those of us
fun. I
that are a
love
little
that.
shy to be on camera, you know, just creating a little quick little fun video just to show a little personality, show a little bit of movement is kind of fun. So I'm
And
going
I love what you said about it disappearing after 24 hours, because at first I was thinking, well, why would you do something that's going to disappear after 24 hours? That's kind of a waste of time. But I loved what you said about, you know, just for practice or for knowing that this is not going to be viewed for perpetuity. So there's some fun and ease in knowing that it's not going to stick around.
You know, so it can be a conversation starter. So we know that conversations can lead to opportunity. So that's one of our challenges, is how to engage the audience, to make connection, to build relationship, to, you know, if they happen to need what we offer, to see if we're a fit to work together, right? Or maybe they can make an introduction to someone else that can help, you know, support your business goals. You just get to know someone, they go, oh, I know someone you need to meet, right? And they help you make a connection that you wouldn't have necessarily made otherwise. So starting conversations, it might seem like a silly thing to share a moment of your day, or share a little bit of personality, or share something about yourself, but that can be a conversation starter that gets you closer to know, like, and trust, and help gets you closer toward your business and professional goals. So it's also a great way to engage your audience. So that's a challenge if you haven't built up your audience yet. But if you do have some audience built up on your social media, doing these 24-hour disappearing stories can be a great way to help engage your audience. I'm going to pop into the Instagram camera here. I'm going to share my screen with you again and just show you some other cool functions. So hopefully you see my.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, cool. Yep. So I'm going to pop into my Instagram app here now. And, oh, and it opened me right up into the camera. So I'm just going to show you how to get to the camera if you're not there. And here we are in Instagram. We are on the home tab. You can see the house icon in the bottom left-hand corner here, and all along the top. And actually, kind of shockingly, I've got 3 people that I'm following that are live right now, which is not normally the case. But you can see the circles or the stories along the top here. So that's how you view the stories of your connections. So it's actually a totally separate feed than the normal feed post. So if you scroll up and down on your home tab, whether it's your news feed on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, this is your sort of never-ending scroll. Those are your feed posts versus the stories post. So it's actually a separate stream of content. So that lives up at the top here. And again, you can just tap on any of the circles and view your friends' stories. So if you want to get into your stories, you can click on your story here, or you can click on the plus sign up in the top right-hand corner here. And I'm going to scooch over to the story function right in here. And again, you can see it's taken us into a camera with some creative tools here in the app. So this is something, again, you can use to create media. I should mention that the video content you can shoot in here is short. So in general, depending on which camera you're in this little stories camera, 15 seconds is the maximum video. It will let you shoot more video, but also I should look in this camera. I was looking in the other camera. You can shoot video more than 15 seconds, but it will in this camera clip it into multiple 15-second clips because
And you have to keep on scrolling across to
that's
keep
correct.
to
So
keep
if
playing.
you're just practicing video and you want to get more comfortable, this is a fun way to create some shorter content. So within that, you can see along the bottom here, we have some fun filters. So here's a little filter right here. This changes the eye color. Can you see the eye color? See all the eyes
I
along
know
here?
it's subtle, but yes,
So
that's
it's given
wild.
me a little blush. It's softened the wrinkles a little bit, give me some color. So you don't want to be too fakey fake, but check that out. Woo, yeah. So there's some little beautification functions in here. If we scroll across, you can see so this is sort of the artificial reality filters in here. So you can add a little sparkle in there. Show you some of the other, here's another little beautification one. So you can actually play with this one added some makeup. Can you see that enhanced my makeup on this
Oh,
one?
right. Yeah, like the eyes and
So if you want to shoot a video, here is the camera now, is the circle in the bottom. So again, if you tap one time and remove your finger, it takes a photo, or you can tap and hold your finger. I'm going to do a little demo video. Now I'm going to hold my finger to film the video. Hey, this is Julie Selby filming a quick demo video for Robyn Unwin Media. Okay, so then I remove my finger. This is Julie Selby filming a quick demo video. So now I can simply tap my finger on the mute function here if I did want to do further decoration of this this media. And then if you wanted to share it to your story, you simply click your story here, but you can download it. So again, here in the Instagram camera, look for that download function. So the little down arrow, and I can simply record something where I look a little jazzier, and then I can just download that media right to my photo roll on my camera. And then you can do whatever you want with it. You can share it on.
that is amazing. I did not know that, Julie. And one of the other things that I thought that was cool that you said before we came online was that you can do that in portrait or in landscape orientation. Totally. That's amazing. So you could actually like not wear makeup one day and just say, hey, Instagram, do me a solid here.
You really can. And even in my camera, that's just my camera on my smartphone. Smartphone cameras have come a long way too. So even in my 3 or 2.5-year-old Android camera, it has a built-in beautification function. So it's got a little scrolly bar. And you can you don't want to go all the way with the filter. I kind of put it in the middle so it doesn't look too fake, right? But yeah, it'll just soften things up a little bit, brightens you up. So there are these fun filters that you can use to film short video content. So between the little moving boomerang and these little filters, I think it's a fun way to get started with video without too much pressure, right? And being able to share some of that content to your stories for the 24 hours and then have it disappear. But like I said, you can download that content and use it however you see fit. You can crop it and use it for different purposes on your social media. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. And before we close, one of the things that we talked about before we came online was a bonus tip about this, about really, with all of these tips, some of them will be flashy, some of them will be, hot and sexy, but to stay aligned with your own brand. TikTok came up, and I know a lot of my clients were running over to TikTok and came back a month later and said, that is so not for me. So just knowing yourself, knowing your brand, and staying true and authentic to who you are and what works for you.
And that's a common question I get from my audience. So speaking of TikTok, so not all of us 40 plus people are on TikTok, but what Instagram has introduced in competition of TikTok is called Reels. And that's a new content format on Instagram. So I have a lot of people asking me about that now because they're using the tactics from TikTok over on Reels. So some of those are doing dance videos. Some of them are lip syncing. Some of them are looking at the screen and dancing and wiggling and pointing, what they're going to do after is they're going to add text overlays to make their point. So it's amazing that these digital tools are giving us new ways to tell stories. But what I tell my clients is if that doesn't feel authentic to you to do a dance, like if you love to dance and you're not shy and you're a bit of a ham and you want to do a dance video, great. But if that is not natural or comfortable for you, if that doesn't vibe with you to do a dance video or do a lip sync or do a wiggling video where you're pointing at stuff, if that's not you, don't do that, right? You can just be yourself. You can look into the camera, share your knowledge, teach your audience, share yourself, share your personality, right? And share your ideas, make that genuine, authentic connection with your audience, and don't do something that isn't a fit for you. I'm not saying don't try new things. I'm not saying don't experiment, I'm all for that. And again, you can be playful with this disappearing content format, the stories, but I would say be true to yourself.
It's so funny because I saw one of them. It was a lip syncing one, and I quite liked it. I thought, oh, that would be kind of fun to try. But I actually thought myself through the flight plan of it, and I thought that would take me 10 hours to get right. I have a hard enough lip syncing my own content, let alone trying to memorize somebody else's and do it right. So I was like, yeah,
I have a lot of respect for the folks that do it well, because they make it look easy.
Right. Yep. Yeah, so true. So true. Well, JUHLi, I cannot thank you enough for all of this solid info. Every time I spend time with you, my head's always just like exploding with all of these ideas and new things to do. And
right,
you just always share so gracefully, and from your heart, all of this amazing information. And, I do know that it's such a passion of yours. Whenever there's something new on the horizon, you're like in your group. And so I want to leave everybody, we will leave JUHLi's, you've got your social media group. Is it a private or a public group, JUHLi?
That one is a private group, yes.
Private group, okay.
They are welcome to connect with me on all the social medias. I'm everywhere.
Okay, excellent. And so we will leave that link below. Is there anything else that you want to say before we close today, JUHLi?
I want people to have more confidence in themselves. I think, myself included, we all hold ourselves back because we're so worried about being perfect. And what they need to know is that the online world needs more positive voices. So I hope that I can help inspire people to feel more confident and get out and explore the web and make those connections to serve others, because the world needs you.
That is such a great way to finish, because that is the truth. Social media has been given a bit of a bad rap over the last couple of years as being a bit of a nasty place. And I love what you say. There's good can triumph. And I think the more voices out there doing things in a responsible and a conscious way, the better. So yay you for supporting all of that good energy out there. And thanks again for all of your beautiful tips and heartfelt wisdom to offer to everybody here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks again for being here, JUHLi.
Thanks for being here and staying right to the end of this episode of Rise with Video. Keep in mind, I'm always looking to work with committed and conscious women business leaders to help them create quality video brands. So if that's you, check out the link in the show notes and let's book a virtual coffee. You can catch other episodes on our YouTube channel, Rise with Video. And if you like this video, hit like and share it with your friends. Again, thanks for being here, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Rise with Video.